what have you been saying about other issues trending? Bukola joins me to walk through the very interesting streets of social media. Bukola.
Yes, indeed, Kadi. Nigerians have been talking more about the economy, but also about other issues from sexual harassment to the bizarre this morning. But let's start with the economy, and which is also going to form our talking point later on. The Central Bank of Nigeria increases interest rate to 27.25%. And this first one is from Richie, who says, if Cardoso is serious on bringing down the inflation rate, he should have increased interest rates to at least 40% by now. Of course, we get it. That's quoted with sarcasm. The inflation would have been cooling by now. It will be difficult and will bite the economy and citizens so hard, but that is the way to go. Really?
Next user, Avocado, says, I think they did that to control the inflation a bit, but the issue is what happens to businesses, SMEs that need loans to thrive. They now have to pay more to service debt. If I'm correct, that's the caveat this user put there. Remember the billionaire Aliko Dangote also speaking about the effect of interest rates on businesses who have to provide employment. Can you imagine how small businesses feel right now? That's what you have.
If the big captain of industry, richest man in Africa, can complain about interest rate, who knows? It's left to the imagination how small businesses are coping. This one is from Dowman, who says the CBN's rate hike to 27.25% could strain struggling businesses. Could strain or is already straining struggling businesses by increasing borrowing costs, limiting access to credit, and heightening debt burdens. This may force some to cut costs, scale back operations, or seek alternative funding to survive. Or this could even cost some to say, look, I'm done. I'm just going to leave this business and look for greener pastures elsewhere. It's
a very tricky one. So the options are always, they look simple. There are always three options. So either hold, to tighten, or free it. Those are usually the three options. And this is how it works. There's always a voting done between members of the Monetary Policy Committee. So it's not just the CBN governor's decision. All the members on that committee vote. So those in favor of holding will vote. Those who want it to be tightened, that's increase it, they vote. Those who want to bring it down, I'm not sure how many people voted for that, but there's usually that breakdown. So that is what happens behind the scenes. And then the CBN governor comes out to announce what the decision of the MPC, that's the committee, is, and not the CBN. But of course, those points are taken. What are the factors that went into this decision? What will it do to businesses? Those issues will be condensing for you very soon on the show. So stay with us right here, and we'll tell you how that goes. But take a look at what a billionaire businessman Aliko Dangote has to say about petrol subsidy. He granted an interview to Bloomberg where he spoke about different things, said he regrets buying Arsenal. Right?
Not buying Arsenal.
Not buying Arsenal. I'm sorry. Forgive me. I said it's not as liquid anymore. So
you won't be able to make that investment.
So I imagine it was maybe trying to say, well, maybe I should have done this refineries and maybe I should have bought Dangote. But that's just one of the several things he said. But one of the other things he said, which concerns you and I, is about subsidy, saying that it's time for FG to remove petrol subsidy. So what is clear from that is, well, subsidy is still ongoing. Call it shortfall, under recovery, whatever, it is still on. And the first user, the Quora guy, says it go shock you, and this had to be in pidgin just to push the message further. It go shock you, say inside that subsidy, another subsidy they inside. How many subsidy they won't remove now? Translation, this user says it will shock you that inside the subsidy there may be another subsidy inside that subsidy. So one is how many subsidy will they remove for those who are not fluent in
And we should also read between the lines, because if you watch the interview, the question was asked in very clear terms, without any doubt, that the federal government was still paying subsidy. And the businessman himself said subsidy has to go, such that Nigeria can be able to very clearly quantify the measure of the petrol produced and consumed per day. And the federal government continues to deny that it's paying subsidy. I interviewed with the Minister of Finance just months ago. Minister of Finance didn't say particularly whether subsidy was being paid or not. So that speaks to the seeming lack of accountability in that space. And Nigerians deserve to know, what the nation's funds is being expended on. But clearly what the businessman said, amongst other things, is quite revealing. And he also said his own petrol is cheaper than the petrol imported. So NNPCL, what's exactly the issue with that breakdown that you gave us about how much you're selling petrol from Dangote refinery for? But this next one, let's read it, is now from Olawo Femi, who says, there's no country without a subsidized package for citizens. Fuel subsidy should still be but monitored and carried out with unbiased, greedless mind, I believe. Well, a mind without greed, is trying to say.
It's always a very interesting debate around subsidy. But let's move on to another talking point, and that's the one that concerns ex-private female soldier who accused a senior officer of sexual harassment. The military came out to say, well, she's been discharged after some medical tests were done, and then she was said to have been found unfit, saying that the panel was set up and the report vindicates the senior officers in question. But Nigerians have been speaking because this is a very major one. It concerns a lot of issues that give a lot of people PTSD. So they're hoping that this is not playing out in the military. Kaushal Koshwaha says that's a serious situation. Yes, you can say that again. It's concerning to see someone discharged after making such accusations, as it raises questions about how such cases are handled. This issue definitely needs careful investigation. And that's why we brought you the side of the military and, of course, the side of people now who are speaking to that. Again, I think there might need to be another look into that matter.
Absolutely, particularly because if, just in case it's true, it would deter others who may be experiencing same within the armed forces to come out and speak. But again, if it's not true, investigations also should be conducted further to determine what actually happened. But this next one is from Paul, who says maybe the evidence was not glaring enough. And indeed, anyone who has been assaulted and didn't obtain evidence immediately after the assault may be unable to prove the allegations of whatever kind of assault because of time factor. Well, Paul continues by saying that kind of fight, looking at the gap between the accused and the lady in the military, she needed outright and straight evidence to nail him. Anything short of that is a journey to nowhere.
There you have it. Those are your comments about these trending issues. Earlier on, we brought you what the EFCC had to say about the very dark man video, Bob Risky. So all eyes on the EFCC to see how the investigation goes, what comes out of the allegations of 15 million naira bribe to its officers. We'll definitely be bringing you the updates to that one. But what do we have first for you on the show? Well, it's the economy, the twin rates that shot up, interest rates, unemployment rate. How do these rates play together to affect you and I? That's in a moment, and we have a round table on this one. So stay with us on the morning break.